I'm Katheryn Leopoldseder. I'm a jeweller and an artist. I create both intimate and large-scale objects. I predominantly work with metal and the language of jewellery to contemplate our relationship to the body in time and place. My exhibition New Day was conceptualised and crafted over the course of 4 years. Taking inspiration from the stories I gathered from more than 15 years arts practice at the Abbotsford Convent. Working in this unique place, as it has developed from an ambitious idea into the arts precinct you see today, has exposed me to the stories that permeate its walls. I've met some of the women who lived here when it was a convent, an orphanage, a school, and a Magdalene asylum. I've established relationships with the local pioneers who more recently fought for the site to remain in public hands. And I've had the honour of being part of the community expression of their vision for the arts and cultural precinct that you see today. Wanting to honour some of that, I created New Day. New Day is displayed winding through the rooms that its female subjects once occupied. It is presented as an experiential journey of my contemporary jewellery and objects, coupled with immersive audio-visual vignettes. These audio-visual vignettes are made from collaborations with musicians, photographers, animators and actors, and are experienced through the viewer's mobile phone. My hope was to transcend the limitations of a static display into a visceral encounter with the complex layers of grief, isolation and displacement that mark the convent's history, but also its resourcefulness, rebirth, tenacity, hope and opportunity. Layers that make it such a unique and meaningful place to so many. Collectively, the works gave voice to the women who occupied the confines of the Abbotsford Convent over its 111-year cloistered history, as well as the audacious people and campaign whose extraordinary efforts saved the derelict site from demolition and private redevelopment into apartments, and even its present significance as a cultural and artistic community. And there are subtexts present in the work too about the value of craftsmanship, the importance of artists to a healthy society, and the changing role of women over time. It's not lost on me that I am a female maker and an entrepreneur working from a place that for a long time reflected a society structure designed to oppress and diminish women. Working on New Day during the pandemic, with its collective sense of unease, distraction and adaptation exhaustion, made me keenly aware of the sense of disconnect that we were all experiencing. While the works were in progress, I had an opportunity to share them with CDSE and to talk about their meaning and where I wanted to go with the project. Captured by the stories behind the artworks, CDSE raised the idea of creating a QR-coded digital tour of the show. This was a light bulb moment and a turning point for my art practice, offering me a new and expansive medium to invite people more deeply into my work. And it would evolve to become a way to bridge that disconnect, compelling people to feel what they were seeing.
At CDSE, our vision is creating extraordinary communities, and I've known Katheryn for some time. Through talking with Katheryn, I've become aware of how sometimes for artists, their own vision and what they're wanting to create can be actually affected by the agendas of others or the visions of others. We're very conscious that as engineers, we are really good with solving problems and being logical thinkers, but we're not creative. Yet the creative mind and what that can bring and do for the community is equally as powerful, if not more powerful, than what we can do as engineers. We really wanted it to be an expression of Katheryn, and it was very much just aligned so much in terms of being about community, being about this Abbotsford Convent and the impact that's had in the community. We saw people coming together. We saw people really getting moved and touched by the exhibition. Almost some beautiful stories of the people who either helped with the collaboration of the pieces, whether that be in the music, in the spoken word, in some of the elements that really came together to really go beyond just the pieces sitting there, but actually create an entire story around them. And also for those who came along to the exhibits and were touched by them, those who had history with the convent or knew people that some of the stories were about. There was one piece for me was the most powerful piece, which was of the table with the chairs and the cups around it, which really represented the founders of this precinct. and what they fought for against developers who actually wanted to take this area and convert it all into apartments and buildings for residential use. To me, it's just such a beautiful reminder, and such a great piece that people now can walk past and be reminded time and time again of what they fought for. And to me, that's a classic example where art can tell a story and art can move people in a way that engineers don't do.
I engaged collaborators who would bring poetry, music, audio compositions, animations and photographic responses, each enriching an artwork with their own skill set. For many months, I worked closely with photographer Fred Kroh to capture each artwork in a space within the convent that would bring further context to its meaning.
In this body of work, it was about responding to Katheryn's pieces that she made and crafted and thought through, and I just endeavoured to explain some of the underlying meaning of the work in a different type of visual presentation. The significance of these stories at the convent, to me, I think interesting and important, because if we don't understand our history and don't understand where we've been, then we don't know where we're going or where we would like to go. The importance of the arts is to give us a different view of a situation, so that different messages are taken up by different people in different ways at different times.
While considering the effects of trauma on our attention spans, I curated these elements into short, immersive audiovisual experiences. Without diminishing some of the difficult things that happened here, it was also important to me to reintroduce some traditional practices that would have been present in the past and seem at odds with the pace of the modern world. Practices of inquiry, reflection, repetition, contemplation, stillness, being aware of the seasons. The curation of the exhibition and many of the audiovisual vignettes were designed to bring the viewer out of a busy state of mind. To me, these practices draw parallels with the disciplines of the artist's life and offered a rhythm through which to experience the exhibition and hopefully some restoration for the pandemic-weary mind.
I wash these sheets till they are free of human bodies. Cold water removes the taste of skin. I wash this body, my body, in the same streams. And it seems the stains remain. I wonder if my wedding dress will be white. I wonder how many women received white sheets, white knuckles, white habits, instead of white silk.
I was extremely excited to collaborate with this exhibition. I've wanted to work with Katheryn for a really long time, and it felt like this was finally the project that we could come together on and actually just see what could come out of it. And as I began to get an idea of the pieces, an idea of what the vision that she had, and just the integrity with which she wanted to create it, I started to feel really excited about what I might be able to offer and how I could just contribute words and a voice to the experience of New Day. The almond branch piece is a piece of jewellery of Katheryn's that I've admired, and the thing that provoked great interest in me is its relationship to a kind of a scriptural narrative, this idea of calling, this idea of someone being called into a position of priesthood, the miracle of an almond branch that buds and blooms and produces fruit. It's a sign of someone not just being chosen, someone seeing for the first time that their life is going to have a mantle and a calling and a trajectory that will not necessarily be easy. But somewhere in that difficulty there is great beauty. To have a relationship between the human body and a piece of art that yearns to interact with the human body, that's really provocative and evocative for us. It challenges us, it changes us, and we come out of those experiences changed.
In a brief summary of the exhibition and the works that Katheryn sent to me, there were a couple of works that particularly stood out to me. One of these was her pool of reflection. There was something about the images and the description of the work that really drew me in. There's something mysterious and brooding and exciting about the work. When I first saw the images of this piece, I could hear the opening bars of a cello piece by Ernest Bloch called Prayer from Jewish Life. I think this music has the same sort of mysterious quality that draws us in with this emotional response. Prayer is also probably the ultimate form of reflection, so I felt like it was a fitting pairing of the music with the artwork. I think as artists we have a really special responsibility to connect people through new experiences, especially post-COVID, where we've been in isolation and separated for months. People just want to go and see new things, do new things, experience new things. As artists, we can use, art, music, performance to communicate ideas that resonate with the community.
The significance of jewellery as art is in its inseparable relationship to the human body. Emblematic of personal identity, collective identity, and projected identity, jewellery is representative of what we value or who has valued us. It can boldly signify power, position, authority, and era, or quietly contain one person's love or loss of another. The act of pinning a grandmother's brooch to your chest can connect you to your lineage. Found jewellery archives can trace us back through both archaeological and intimate renderings of forgotten stories. Jewellery is a physical memento that implicates the body in the act of recollection, and in the case of New Day, in the communion of imagination between maker and viewer. Some of the jewellery for New Day is scaled up much larger than is typical. For example, the Great Escape, a giant necklace made of sheets. Its huge presence hangs the full height of the industrial laundries here at the Convent. Its volume, expressed as a necklace, speaks to the viewer's body, what it might be like to be engulfed by this weight, the weight of washing hundreds of sheets every day, not only as an unpaid labourer, but also as a process of being reformed to the social expectations of the day. By its relationship to jewellery, The Great Escape creates a visceral experience of the meaning of the artwork, describing to the viewer's own body the burden of the activity of being purified through making these sheets white again. The knots in the sheets speak to longing, the imagery from old black and white jailbreak films, a knotted sheet being the means for an escapee to climb out of a cell window. New Day has proven my most challenging and satisfying project. I underestimated the effect that this work would have on the visitors who had a personal connection with the Abbotsford Convent. Many shared their stories with me, and I bore witness to their feeling seen as they experienced the exhibition. It's hard to talk about what it means for me to see when the work connects with its audience. It's the feeling of knowing I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do.